Okay. Oh. I had some trouble with that. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Bipolar Sunrise. I'm Garrett Nichols.
I'm Ryan Sullivan.
Hey, Doug.
And Nate Dogg. John won't be with us today. He's doing, what is he? He's at the lake or some shit?
He's at some car thing.
The
that he
ice
took
cream.
His, yeah,
Oh, the ice
they
cream.
took his Corvette to.
Yeah, okay. Well, good luck with the car thing today,
I think
John.
Gabe went camping at Toronto, and he went the other direction to his car thing.
Well, that's cool. I was thinking about April yesterday. I sent her a picture on Snapchat of a cactus. Do you remember here a couple years ago she had a wheelbarrow out in the front yard and it had a whole bunch of chopped up cactuses. They're African something, maybe milk cactus, something like that.
Right.
Anyway, I took a couple of them and I just shoved them down, and I had a pot and I just shoved them down in the dirt, and it's been like 2 years now, and I took a picture of them yesterday. They were all straight up and down, and now they've all got the little
Oh,
pieces
really?
coming
No
off the side.
shit.
They're growing, and then they've got babies all over them.
Oh, hell yeah.
So thanks for the plant, April, the cactus. So, anywho, you know what I was thinking about? So I made a post about it on Facebook the other day, but I thought we'd just talk about it because it really does screw with me, is the time change. How do you guys deal with the time change? And is it easier going from turning the clock back or winding it forward that helps you guys, or do you even notice?
When I used to get up at all hours of the night, I hated when we would fall back because I'm already up at 2 or 3 in the morning. And then it's like, and now I've got another hour that I'm going to be awake. Where I always like the spring forward, because it's like, okay, cool. At least it's now, instead of, being 2 or 3 in the morning, it's now 3 or 4 in the morning. But I don't know. It's never, I don't feel like it's ever affected me for days or weeks, or it's one of those that it is what it is. I fall back and it frustrates me for a while, and then I get used to it and I'm fine.
It takes me quite a long time to get used
Does
to
it really?
Unfortunately, it does. And the problem, the worst when I work night shift, which is weird, but working nights, you would think, because you're kind of, and since working nights, you go home in the winter and it's dark still.
Right.
You can kind of get to sleep. But when summertime changes and it's light when you get home and it's already kind of bright in your room, even though you got blackout curtains, it's still shining through.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it made it tough for me.
Telling you it's time to be up.
And then even worse, during the summertime when I would work night shift, because the sun's so bright, and it could be, 10 o'clock in the morning and the sun's high enough and bright enough that getting up to pee, I'm awake now. My body's like, hey, it's really sunny. It's
Super
warm
sun.
coming through the
Right.
windows. My body temperature warmed back up. So I got to go to bed and then get it dark again by trying to probably put a pillow over my eyes, or a face mask is what I would usually do. And then I have to cool back down again. So like my body temperature needs to cool down. If it's warm coming in the windows or the walls, oh, I'm not getting back to sleep. So that day I don't sleep. It's noon now. Like, well, I might as well just get up. I was going to get up at 3:30 anyway.
Right.
And I got 3.5 hours less of sleep. But really, the sleep that I got was terrible sleep anyway, because I was tossing and turning. And my body was saying, get up. It's daylight out. What are you doing? You're wasting time.
Right.
So I really struggle with it for, I'd say, months. It takes a long time. But working during the day now, it does make it easier because I'm at night. But I think it really does. I think it probably affects everyone. I know that you can look up statistics on the amount of strokes and heart attacks and stress induced health problems that occur during the time changes. It's like pretty staggering, the number of heart problems people have during time change. And I think it's directly attributed to it. I mean, it's just odd that it's that time then.
Mm-hmm.
So some, the way people deal with things are always different, and it may be affecting you, but you're just not complaining about it. So how many people have problems with it? They just don't say shit about it. They're just like, yeah, I just don't sleep that good.
Right.
Well, you're not sleeping that good means that's a problem. We require sleep. To be your best cognitively and physically, and to make everything as efficient, it requires sleep and hydration. Those are two really overlooked things, and they're the most important, not just in fitness, but just in life generally, I think. I guess in my medical and professional opinion.
Right. Right. Does it bother you?
When I worked night shift, I didn't like the spring forward because instead of working 12 hours, I only worked 11. And with the fall back, I worked 13 instead of 12. And I also think it affects my dogs because they're expecting you to wake up at 5 like you always do and take them on a walk, and then all of a sudden you're either earlier than they're used to or later than they're used to, and they're like, what the hell, man? But other than that,
You mean you haven't taught your dog daylight savings time?
I mean, I try. But I guess Enzo's just really dumb.
Sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So maybe if you would have taught him when he was a puppy.
Yeah, he would have gotten it. But it's like, hey, it's daylight savings time today, so this is going to be a little bit different, buddy.
Yeah. Here's your food, but tomorrow, forget about it. This time I'm going to be asleep, and so are you.
Yeah.
This lady made the post when I asked the question on Facebook about the daylight savings. She said, my livestock doesn't care about daylight saving times. They want to eat when the sun comes up. And I was like, well, yeah, you're right about that, but fuck your cows. I'm specifically talking about human beings who can comprehend that there's 24 hours in a day, and that's how long it takes us to get around the sun.
Right.
So, we're sort of talking about a little bit of science here, and not necessarily your livestock's preference on when they eat. I'm surprised that they have a preference on when they eat, since they're cows and they usually just eat constantly. Anyway, thanks, bitch, for answering that question. I mean, if you're watching, which you're not, because you're probably busy right now. Sun's coming up. You're probably feeding your
Cows are
livestock.
ready to eat.
My buddy, I had a buddy, well, we were roommates, and he was going to college, but I was not. There was two of us, both of them went to college, and I was just working. And he had these fish. He had this aquarium, and it was pretty nice. He had some quite a good, population of different fish and stuff, and he took care of them. He would be specific about when he fed the fish and when he turned the lights off and on in their bowl. And he didn't like that routine being screwed with. He didn't like you putting your hands on the aquarium or really messing with it. He was particular about it. So me and the other roommate, we found this to be quite hilarious. One day, for some reason, I don't remember, I think because Mitch bought the frog for Brandon for Christmas, or for his birthday, an albino frog. Have you ever seen one?
Mm-hmm.
They have the black claws.
Yep.
They look pretty evil. Well, they eat fish,
Oh, shit.
like big time. And Brandon had these big angel fish in there.
Oh,
Like-
no.
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
And I'd say we're under the influence, right? Young
Right.
college guys, college girls coming in and out. We were doing our thing, I wasn't. I was working because I'm dumb. But they were smart. Not too smart, because we all did this together. The frog ate the angelfish, and it didn't eat it, like catch it from backwards. It caught it from forwards, so where the angelfish would be, swimming in. And it couldn't get it down, but it couldn't back out because the angelfish's fins
Oh, no.
got
Yep.
stuck in there in the frog.
Yep.
But Mitch and I, in our, under the influence state that I was talking about. Get the fish out, do some small chest compressions on the frog, blow a little bit in its lungs, and gave it a chance and dumped it back in there. And it floated up at first, but then it kind of got upright and was kind of down at the bottom. We're like, I think it's going to make it. And it didn't.
It did.
It floated upside down a little bit later and just was at the top of the aquarium. And the fish died too. It was a bad day. And before that, we thought for a long time, we were young, well, we were smoking marijuana. And just to screw with Brandon, we put some weed in the aquarium where we were smoking, and we were putting a little bit, it had some ashes too, but the fish were eating it, they didn't care. Whatever we were putting in there, all the fish were eating the weed.
Oh my God.
And then that frog ate that fish. I don't know if it was the same day or the next day, but it was all around the same time, and we were just stoned, we were whacked out of our minds, and we're just fucking putting weed in the aquarium, and the little fish were eating it. Good times. I don't know how we got there, but that was fun times. How did I get to talking about that aquarium?
I don't know. I don't know.
Another time I had an aquarium, it was the day before. It was Christmas Eve, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were gonna have some family over, and I had like a 15-gallon, the octagon aquarium, and so it was pretty small. It might have been 30. It was a good enough size, and I had got it at a yard sale or something, and I had it all set up, and then I'd had it set up for a while, and I had a good amount of fish in there, but I had some, my girlfriend and I at the time were gonna have some family over the next day for Christmas, or it was Thanksgiving or something, I don't remember, but I went and got some new fish from Walmart, and quite a few, and I introduced them, and it would look good in there. There was a lot of different types of fish, and they were all seemed to be, it was like, and I was pretty impressed with it. And then I woke up the next morning, and they all were dead. I don't know if one of the fish, I brought something in the water, or if one of the fish were contaminated, or I treated the water wrong or something like that. I don't know, but.
I used to have saltwater tanks.
Oh man, really? You have to
Yeah.
have a lot of patience for that, right?
It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed it like that. I liked that routine, kind of like your roommate. I had a routine,
Uh-huh.
and on Saturdays I went through and cleaned everything and checked the pH
Yeah.
and checked the saltwater content, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. But
Those fish are not something that you want to kill.
no,
You don't just go to Walmart and restock it.
Right.
Oh, my man of war died.
it would take me hours to acclimate a new fish to the tank,
Yeah.
Like I'd let the bag float around, and then I'd add a little bit of my water to the bag and tie it back up
Oh,
again.
really?
And like
Because the salt water's different for them.
it could have been like theirs may have been a little bit different than what mine was, and so I'd slowly add mine to theirs and just get them acclimated to mine, and then finally I would let them loose and they could swim around. But yeah, I used to have had a 150-gallon tank,
wow.
and had a 50-gallon tank. And
So what
just
type
enjoyed
of
the
fish
shit out
did
of
you really like to have and keep?
I like I'm probably saying it wrong, but the anemones or anemones or whatever,
I know what
where
you're talking
they're
about,
on the
but
rocks
uh-huh.
and they'd open up, and
Yeah.
I've always thought those were just the coolest things ever.
A lot of stuff out of the ocean is super cool.
And I like clownfish. I always thought clownfish were pretty cool.
Right, the
But,
Nemo.
Yeah.
Nemos. My Travis, my buddy Travis, his parents used to have three. I think one of them was, maybe two of them was the big 150 gallons. I think they had, one was in the like kitchen dining area, and then two were in the living room on the back wall. And yeah, it was where I remember how much they worked, and I remember Doug at work would talk about it was a whole trip planned out to go pick these fish up in Wichita, and they had it planned out because the timing they needed to get it in a bag, get it back to
In a bag.
Emporia, and he said, I have had these type die before on me, trying to get them into the aquarium from the pet store. It's real, they're real finicky, and like you said, you have to make sure the pH is correct all the time.
Yep.
They have to have the right plant life and balance in their ecosystem. It's a lot of work, so that's pretty impressive that you're able to even, because he would talk about them crashing. It would be devastating. One of my tanks crashed, meaning the pH or salt level, something got off enough that it destroyed the entire ecosystem, plants, everything.
Yep.
Start over from scratch.
Yep.
So,
But I mean, you gotta have, they recommend like a pound of sea rocks and all of that stuff per gallon of.
yeah.
So like I went
live.
downstairs in the basement and I put jack stands underneath the floor joists just
Oh,
because
right.
you gotta think 150 pounds
Yeah.
of salt water, that's
8.6
you know,
pounds a gallon.
and then
Saltwater
turn
may weigh a
around
little
and
less 'cause of the
adding
salt.
another 150 plus pounds of rock and everything else. It was a lot of, it was a lot of fun. God, that was years ago. 20, 25 years ago that I
Wow.
did all that. And I think a lot of it too was it played into my where I want new. I want I want
yes.
you know what I mean?
Of course.
So it played into it well because it was something that I could constantly build onto or mess with or so it
And you could really justify spending easily because it was on pets, and
Right.
these were something, they're living creatures. There was a whole probably slew of things going on in your head that just
Yep.
made this thing really, really exciting.
and then that's when I got rid of mine as my 150 gallon crashed and it was like fuck. And I just sold the tank like I was so devastated
I
that
bet.
it was like I'm just done now. I just sold everything and
A lot of
called it
emotion
good.
in something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean you wrap up a lot of hours and
Hours and hours. Yeah.
and money and enjoying it just for it to just and it's like you said with your buddy, it's the pH. What was it? What the hell just happened that
Why did it crash?
and everything, all of your fish are sick. Well, then you feel bad because no matter what you're doing, you can't save your fish. And it's like, God, am I torturing these fucking things
you
until
can't
they
just pop them
die?
into another
Yeah.
aquarium because they might contaminate
Exactly.
it.
And so it was just sad. You just watch one thing after another just die off, and it's like, fuck, I don't know what just happened. And when that happened, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with my saltwater tanks.
When I was a kid, we had a crawdad for years and years, and it was just a little bitty, pretty transparent crawdad when we got it, and we put it in an aquarium, and there were fish in the aquarium, and from time to time it would snipe fish, and it ate fish food. Like when you'd feed the fish, it knew, and my mom had a philodendron in there, and it'd climb up to the top and, start pinch the food. It would eat,
No
just
kidding.
like when the fish did, it would eat. Sometimes that would be the only animal in the aquarium. We had that crawdad for a long time. Sometimes we'd put some fish in there, but mainly we kept it for that. And it got to be it was a small aquarium, and it got to be about yay big, and it died. And so I threw it out in the yard. And then we went somewhere and came home, and that crawdad was walking around out in the yard. It had rained or something like that.
What the hell?
And we're like, what? But it had shed its shell several times. They're growing every once in a while. There'd be two crawdads in there, but it would be its shell. We'd take it out and
Yeah.
have a new one. We put it back in the aquarium. It shed its shell and turned into a darker color of blue. And like, whoa, it must have been not dead. It was just changing,
Yep.
And then it lived. Man, it was so long. I was a kid, so I don't remember all the details of it, but it lived for quite a bit longer, and then it did end up dying short. I want to say shortly after, but maybe like 6 months or something, and then it finally did go ahead and kick the bucket completely. Yeah. But those crawdads can get big. A regular crawdad that you could find in the creek that's this big can get lobster size. I mean, they get pretty massive in ponds. You can grow them. They have crawdad
That'd
ponds.
be terrifying. Come across a crawdad that big.
When we were kids, my friends had a hog farm, and the hog farm was kind of off over to the east and on the west side of the farm, there was a pond that was more for the livestock, and it was just a small dug man-made hole. And for some reason, it was full of crawdads. And you could look down in the water before get in there and try to catch them and disturb it. You know how the crawdad mounds, they're outside in the ditches. Their crawdad mounds would be in the pond under the water.
Shit.
You'd see the mounds starting off the bases like this, and they'd be up out of the water. They would be so big, like a foot
Damn.
tall, 18
Damn.
inches maybe. And those crawdads were huge in that pond. Of course, I'm saying this, I was a little kid and we were catching them.
Right.
They were lobster sized as a kid. They do get big, but as a kid, my hand was only this small, so holding a big ass crawdad, and they could nail you too, those pinchers.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
I don't know if they were good eating or not. Bullfrogs we ate a lot of bullfrog legs when I was a kid. I loved
Same
killing
here.
bullfrogs. I just absolutely, it was my favorite thing to go and shoot with my BB gun was bullfrogs.
Yep. My dad would cook bullfrog legs. Get that pan hotter and shit, and then the legs would contract and just
had,
from putting it on that heat.
There was a place here in town. I think it was like some type of Asian food place. Oh, it might have been where the old Pizza Hut was, which is like a check into cash place now, or title
Right.
loan place. Yeah, was it some kind of Asian food place for a
I
minute?
don't remember.
There's been so many of those come and go. But anyway, there's one place in Emporia that had frog legs at one time. They didn't have, how, like you said, your dad would throw them in there, chop them off up here and cut the feet off and then put them in as a whole piece and you kind of eat it like chicken.
Yep.
They cut theirs into like, it was all and breaded it like fried okra. It was in little chunks.
Oh,
They
really?
took the bones out and like chunked it.
Really? Not good.
Yeah, it wasn't
not
what I
the same,
remembered. It's not
yeah.
the same, I guess. Maybe when your dad did it because he'd roll in flour.
Well, and then goods, before it was goods, it was Price Chopper, and you used to be able to buy frog legs by the case there.
Oh, is that right?
And
Yeah,
so
take a
I'd buy
case
them
of
and
'em.
I'd throw
Yeah,
them
kill a
on the
bunch.
smoker,
Uh-huh.
and fuck, that was always good. Just line the smoker, almost like doing wings.
Yeah.
Just line the smoker with frog legs. God dang, that was good eating. And then we always ate a lot of mountain oysters. Dad loved mountain oysters. And so we'd go to the butcher in, is it Allen?
Allen or Admire?
Yeah,
probably one of
whichever
those,
one. And Dad would order
Yeah. Allen, I think so, yeah.
mountain oysters from them.
The Wigwam and Longton, Kansas
Bread 'em.
had them. They breaded them there, and they were around. Now, I've eaten mountain oysters that were sliced into like chips.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them like that. They're not juicy enough.
Yeah, Dad would have them and then quarter them, and then he'd bread them. So it'd be pretty decent chunks, and then he'd deep fat fry them. God dang, they were good.
I was tricked into eating mountain oysters because I knew what they were. Everybody, it was pretty common to have, at fish fries, they'd have nuts too. And my dad tricked me. We were having fried mushrooms, and I'm eating them. He's like, you just ate a mountain oyster. That's a cow ball. And you know how a mushroom.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, I know it was. And I was like, well, actually, that was pretty good. And he's like, you want another one? I was like, yeah. And then he gave me an actual mountain oyster. And I ate that. And I was like, it didn't taste the same. It wasn't juicy like that. And he was like, yeah, that wasn't actually a mountain oyster. And I'm like, oh. And so I started eating them.
Good. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
pretty odd, the different types of culture, imagine like how did I suppose it was, when you're doing cows and you're making steers, you're neutering all the cows, you don't want them to go to waste, so you start cooking them.
Yep.
Cow tongues, that's not like super American, but it should be because there were so many buffalo and so many cows. You'd think that'd be, because tongue meat is used in a lot. It's tender. It's used in a lot of dishes. It's pretty good.
Yeah, my mom used to make it for breakfast.
Oh,
She'd do
really?
Cow tongue and eggs.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Cow tongue and eggs. What was your guys'? We were pretty traditional. It would be biscuits and gravy, bacon and eggs, type of deal. Sometimes sausage, like Polish style, but not very often. That was more of a dinner thing. You guys, what did you have? Probably some kind of German dish, Duchenschweitz or something.
No.
Spritzer Wiener Schnitzels.
It was mainly the cheapest breakfast that you could get.
Right.
So it was like rice and raisins or something like that.
Did you eat Spam
Yes.
ever?
Yeah.
You know, I pretty much was able to avoid all types of canned meats and ramen noodles and stuff. I'd rather not eat. I would rather not eat than eat ramen noodles. I'll never eat them. I shouldn't say never because I guess things can happen, but I haven't so far in my life, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by not eating stovetop stuffing. I've had it before by accident. It was stuck to some mashed potatoes or something, and I didn't see it, and I knew right away when I bit into it. I could do without beets.
I can't think of a food where I've just purposely been like, I will never eat that. I can't think of, like, there's food I obviously have never had just because I don't know what it is, or
I've never had
But I've-
sushi still.
really.
I'm not avoiding it, but I'm not looking for it. If it happens, it happens. I guess it's just one of those things. I'm not.
Huh.
But ramen, I'm not looking for it, and I'm not gonna have it either.
Yeah, man, I eat ramen 100 different ways.
Yeah, lots of people do. It's pretty common food, and it's not. I know it's got the, cheapness attached to it. But isn't there a ramen shop just down the street that they just
Yeah.
serve? That's
Yeah.
probably good ramen there, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you ever desire ramen, I think you go for the hoity-toity stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They probably use a different type of noodle.
Yeah, not the 25-cent packages of ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Go
Like-
for the udon or the.
Yeah.
If you go out to the old Aldi's back in the day, you could get their generic versions, like boxes. You get a full box, like $2. Like, is this the right price? Is it $2 a pack? Like, no, that's that pallet right there. Two.
That's
$2.
Yep, that's ramen.
Yep.
What is it made out of? Gluten? They just extract all the gluten out
Yeah,
of
I think
the wheat?
sawdust and glue.
Hey, you know what has sawdust in it?
What?
Parmesan cheese.
Really?
Yeah. It keeps it from going weird.
The
Huh.
moisture content and stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So when you're sprinkling that powdered Parmesan cheese onto your pizza,
That's sawdust.
that's sawdust.
No shit.
A good portion of it's sawdust.
I did not realize that.
Well, the
Gotta
more
have
you
my
know.
Juice box.
Now we usually get the shredded Parmesan or get the Parmesan blocks and just shred it ourselves because
I was gonna say Tabby will get the shredded. I'm not sure that we have the powdered type.
Yeah.
But
I don't think so either.
getting
Tabby
block
usually
cheese
just gets
is
the
healthier
cheese.
than getting shredded cheese.
getting block cheese.
Yeah, because the shredded cheese also has the same preservatives, which I think is also sawdust or something.
I'm not sure on what the ingredient is that they put in to preserve it, but if you notice, you have shredded cheese, you open it up, the shredded parts don't get hard. But if you shave block cheese, after out on the counter, it starts to get hard and on the tips.
My biggest complaint with shredded cheese is the moisture that will form in the bag sometimes.
Well, it's got a lot of extra preservatives in it.
Yeah.
It's like super, like I cold smoked cheese once and the oils that came out of that was just made it to where it wasn't even appetizing.
Did it get gooey, like soft?
Yeah,
and
like
good?
my smoke had gotten out of control, so it got a little bit warm,
Yeah.
and it started pulling all the oils out of the cheese, and I was
Started
like,
to be like a gel block.
oh my god, what is it? What have I been eating?
Man,
That's
isn't it-
disgusting.
I mean, cheese is just, I'm not sure on how to do it, but I know churning butter is just like cream from the milk, and you just maybe add salt or something to it. Have you churned butter, or do you know the process? What is it?
The
It's just you take the cream off the top of the
off
milk,
the top, and then you just keep on
agitating it over
and
and
yep,
over.
over and over, and then eventually it turns into that butter stuff.
But you don't
So
have to
how
add
cottage
anything
cheese
to
is
it,
made?
it's just cream.
And you can also put it, and you can also just shake it for like, it
long
felt like
time.
hours,
Yeah.
but
And then eventually it starts to get a thickened, and then.
yep.
Now, I make my own whipped cream sometimes by using heavy whipping cream and sugar, and then just whisk it in a bowl, and, a couple minutes, 5 probably, it ends up being a bowl of whipped cream.
And if you just keep on going, it will turn into a butter type stuff.
So as you whip it, it won't be light and fluffy, it'll end up being more of a textured.
Yeah.
Huh.
There we
And
go. Whipped cream butter.
I looked it up, and sawdust is in
Cheese too.
shredded cheese. Yeah, like pre-shredded cheese. So that's it's cellulose /
I'm not
sawdust.
gonna be able to eat
So-
cheese anymore.
Listen to this, I heard a guy talking
That's why
the
it
other day.
binds you up.
They're cooking the sawdust,
Sawdust.
trying to shit a log, literally.
Yeah.
Just a big ball of sawdust in your ass.
This guy was talking the other day that he was working. I always forget most of this stuff, but he was working doing testing on roaches, cockroaches. He had done so much testing that he had formed an allergic reaction. Because if you are around roaches a lot, then you get an allergy to them.
Really?
Right? Then he all of a sudden started getting the same allergic reaction when he was drinking ground coffee.
Mm.
You get the correlation?
No.
He had the allergic reaction to the roaches. That would mean that the content of that ground coffee had so much roach
Oh,
in it
shit.
that he was reacting to the roach that was in the
Oh,
ground
shit.
coffee, because the
Okay.
FDA does allow a
Ooh.
certain amount of protein added, and that is
Oh,
bug
damn.
feces. So he said the only way he could drink coffee then after that, because he had developed this allergy, was then to only drink coffee beans that were unground, ground them himself, because he knew there was no roaches in the process.
Gotcha.
And then he drank coffee beans that he ground
Ooh.
himself, would not have the same reaction. So they demised, is that how you say that? That he was allergic to roaches, and that therefore there was a content so high in the ground coffee. Are you looking that up?
Well,
Look that up.
I
don't
was
wanna
looking.
know the truth.
Yeah.
Well, I bet you, man.
I don't want to know, man.
If there's sawdust in there, the
I'm
FDA
done with my
allows.
coffee.
And you think of how many bugs, like when you open your door of your house in the summertime, and how many bugs get in and out. Like, we go around to these different lift stations in town and these buildings to do
Oh God,
maintenance
I can
on
only
them.
imagine the bugs in there.
The spiders and bugs, just going through, everything's screened off. Our louvers that we have, you open up, they've got screens. The doors have, seals on the bottom, but they, not only do they fill up with spiders, but they fill up with other bugs getting caught in these spiders' nests, and the spiders eat them, and so there's just carcasses everywhere.
Carcasses.
So,
Uh,
No, you're fine. What's up, Fee?
Good. I got a client coming in, just letting you know. You
Okay.
guys are totally fine. Are you still recording?
now we'll be wrapping up here pretty quick.
Okay, I'm sorry. No,
Okay.
no rush.
Lay it on us.
so 10% of there can be insect infested or damaged, like including cockroaches. 10% of the coffee beans can have roaches in it. And the thing that I was looking up
10%'s a lot.
yeah,
You think, 'cause
Well-
you only have 90% left that's
Well-
actual bean. So every cup of coffee, every gulp is 10% roach shit?
So I heard once that they allowed a certain amount of spiders in.
Well, it has to be.
in-
If you
in-
allow roaches, how can you
Yeah.
exclude spiders? That's
in,
racist.
in peanut butter, yeah. So you can have up to 238 insect fragments in a 28-ounce
So who's
jar
counting
of peanut
these?
butter.
One fragment per ounce.
Yeah,
Every
Well,
ounce of
it's
peanut butter,
third-
you're getting a spider leg.
it's 30 insect fragments per 100 grams of peanut butter. So if it's more than that, then they consider it infested.
That's
God.
70%, right? That's not contaminated.
Lord.
30% is in that case.
Yeah.
Am I doing my math right? That's
Just
disgusting.
yet another reason not to eat peanut butter.
Well, it's
How do
allowed
you know?
in every. I mean, it's allowed
Well, how
in
do you
everything.
test for that?
I don't want to.
They're like,
like
we're
I
at
said, I don't
11.
want to know.
We're 11% of bug preference guys are like,
Well, that's my thing.
Yeah.
How is it, I'm assuming
It's not like the
You
bugs
know, like
check
at
in,
the
like we're getting ready to jump in your
dog
mix.
food plants, you would pour a bucket, then level off the cube, and it'd be one square.
Mm-hmm.
So do they have a guy that they dump that on the table, and he's just got like his craft glasses on,
goggles
magnified?
It's like, oh,
He's
there's
like,
an
there's
insect
one.
fragment.
You know,
He doesn't
there's
take
got
them
to
out,
be.
just counts them.
We've got to be. He's like, this one's good. Send it down.
Yeah.
Like, how many bugs were in there? I detected 17. How many did you get out? We're supposed to be getting the bugs out?
Yeah.
I thought I was just keeping track of how many's in there.
I'm just taking note. You guys get it out. I'm
Yeah,
not doing
it's
that.
in the mix.
But there's got to be some poor bastard that's his job. Wears a magnifying glass.
I'm just
and
making sure
counts
there's.
body parts. Yeah.
I mean,
he's good.
I mean,
good.
it must be they just do a calculation,
Yeah, it's got to
which
be.
is really strange to me that you can do this with blended ingredient. I understand oats and things like that. You can't wash them completely off. It's going to be some of them stuck in there, but the USDA is heavily involved in the process of beef, pork, poultry. So much so that they have officers that are in the building during production at all times, monitoring for not only quality assurance of the meat itself, but making sure that there's no light coming in underneath doors and seams of windows. No, there's no cigarette butts laying on the ground in the parking lot that people could potentially track in on their shoes.
Right.
If the regulation's so heavy in the meat and poultry industry, why isn't it regulated more heavily in industries that are corn, peas, grains, and oats? That's
I
where
don't
you're
know
getting
if
these and
it's
beans.
got to be the way they store everything that
And
it's,
if you
it's
wash your
physically
beans-
impossible to keep shit out of it.
I don't know that it would be. You couldn't have a sterile room. I guess the expense.
And
It's
that's
not
what I was
worth
getting
it.
ready to say is the
Not everybody's allergic to
the amount of
roaches.
money they'd have to pass on to the consumer to guarantee that it wouldn't be cost effective probably. So now it's, like we all joke about it, but it's really disgusting that we're eating bug parts. But do you think about it every time you take a bite of cereal, or I don't?
Probably going now.
Right.
For
But-
the next couple of days.
Well,
Right.
so I looked up beef, and it says there is no specific limit on the number of insects in beef because insects are not an intended ingredient, and their presence is due to
Not
unavoidable
an
contamination.
intended ingredient.
It is in coffee?
Yes, and it's unavoidable contamination during harvesting and processing.
Yeah.
So they don't count how many insects are in your beef.
It's 0.
Wheat flour can have up to 75 insect fragments per 50 grams.
For 50 grams?
Yeah.
God.
Frozen or canned spinach can have up to 50 aphid.
Definition of a first world problem.
Yeah, in other countries, they're just eating bugs only.
Yeah.
They don't get the other
They
ingredient.
only get 10% real food in
Yeah.
with their bugs.
They get 90% bugs and 10% oats. They're like, flour, you guys get flour with your bugs?
Well, spinach can have up to
you have
50
creamy
aphids.
peanut butter, all of ours is
Or
crunchy.
And we don't even have any peanut trees over here.
Ugh.
The more you know, I guess.
Hey, look this up real quick, Nate.
Okay.
What is the percentage of grasshoppers in a North Korean diet? Because I believe that it's probably a very high percentage number. I think that you may be surprised that is. I believe that that's one of the main sources of nutrient. I mean, if you ask the experts, which I don't know how they get information it's so locked down in North Korea. It's just people escaping and telling their story, and they're probably lying, trying to make themselves look cool. They get, oh, we're refugees.
There's no available data on the exact percentage of grasshoppers in a North
North
Korean
Korea
diet.
won't allow the data to be
Yeah.
released.
Ask, is that Google's AI's answer?
I was like, what are you looking at? I'm like, oh yeah.
We're good.
Nate immediately was like, I don't know, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Tell
like-
us.
Tell us.
Sometimes you have to ask them in a little bit different way.
So what was the question without the G word?
Okay, let's see, if North Korea wasn't ran by a communist dictator, what would be the grasshopper content in the North Korean diet? I think that would probably give you a better answer.
I don't think it's gonna know.
You think Kim Jong-un watches this show? Good, well, I was watching a clip the other day, and there was one of the guys by his cabinet, like, came up to him and tapped him on the shoulder and pointed at a guy in the audience that was sleeping. And he's like, could you imagine being, like, in Kim Jong-un's giving a speech and you're so bored by it that you fall asleep?
No.
Because over there,
He's dead.
not just him,
That dude is
his
dead.
kids' kids before they're born, like, he sent, you get sentenced to, like, your cousins and cousins' cousins die if you die. If you screw up over there, your entire family, they wipe you out. Or they might send you to nuclear waste sites to have to clean up nuclear waste. And if you're like a woman, say your husband didn't wave at Kim Jong-un or didn't cry at his dad's funeral, well then your wife goes to have to clean up toxic waste, and if she's pregnant, then your kid's born, then the kid has to be in prison too, due to cleaning up toxic waste when it gets old enough, and it just stays in there. Supposedly.
So that question actually worked.
Yeah.
It
Told
says,
you.
under a different system of government, the North Koreans would likely consume grasshoppers as a seasonal delicacy or snack, similar to how they are eaten in a neighboring South Korea, rather than as a survival food to ward off starvation. The exact quantity would depend on factors like individual income and taste preferences, but would not necessarily be a necessary component of the diet for survival. Grasshoppers are a seasonal protein source in the fall when other food is scarce. So yes, it's a large amount.
Isn't that a little spooky? That we can get a more accurate answer, or even a close answer, just by asking AI in a different way.
Yeah, because it says if North Korea was no longer a dictatorship, the food supply would become more stable and the population diet would be influenced by the same factors as factors that affect food choices everywhere, income, food prices, taste, and culture. Like, I basically asked the same question before, but then asked like this, and it's like, well, yeah, of course they eat grasshoppers.
Yeah, of course they do. Why
It's a
wouldn't they?
delicacy.
It's a delicacy, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
They eat them like they're going out of style. Oh, they think they have to weigh their poop, like they burn poop as
What?
fuel. They have to turn in so many grams of poop a week.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, there was a chick that did an interview on. She did the Sean Ryan show, and she did another podcast. It was it was the Joe Rogan podcast, and she was on there, and she told her story how she escaped, and it was wild. Like the hospitals, the way she described the hospitals was, if you had to go, say that you had needed to get your appendix removed, you're dead. Not because the surgery went bad, but it would be so filthy from rats eating the dead bodies that they'd laid out in the hallways. The rats would be in the hallways, and sick kids in the hospital would be playing with the rats, and the rats would eat the eyes first. So it's a bunch of dead bodies with no eyes, rats in the hall. So if you go to get a surgery, you're going to get an infection and die. So you don't go to the hospital when you're sick, because the hospitals are worse And this is the way that she described it. If there's meat available in the markets on the street, what do you think it is? They're not allowed to have livestock. And there's a couple bodies missing from the fucking hospital floor.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There's no stray dogs running loose and a bunch of cats. Why?
They're just eating the humans.
But that's illegal, and you'll get punished for that, and so will your whole family. So if you're selling something on the street, you have to let the government know, because they won't tax it.
Right. They
But-
want their cut.
They may not be specific on what you're serving.
I would not be surprised if there was no audio on this one either.
Right.
Like when we were talking about
As
the
soon as we start
Illuminati.
talking about Kim Jong-un and
It's like just all the audio's gone.
If it is, then we'll know next time we'll have to use a different term. So when we talk about Kim Jong-un, we'll call him Hitler. Because we never got flagged on any of those. They love that. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Like any kind of anti-Semitism is completely welcome on YouTube. Anything else? I'm sorry. That is kind of wild though. I mean, imagine that it happens in Vietnam right this second. A friend of mine, an acquaintance I worked with at Simmons was getting ready to go on holiday to Vietnam, back home, that's where he's from. And when he came back, he showed us pictures on his phone, and he starts laughing, scrolls over, and there's a place with a sign, says something, and then there's a big barbecue grill, big barbecue, and outside of it there's a pit with fire, and you can clearly see what's being rotisserie over a fire, and it was a dog. That's what he said to us when he showed us the picture. Like, what? It's good.
it's good.
It's good.
Like, you don't have to do that. You're a citizen. He's been over here since the Vietnam War was over, you know. He's came over then. Like, you don't have to eat dogs anymore. Ha ha ha
Like I
ha.
want to.
Apparently.
That's what he said to us.
That's exactly what he said, and I was appalled. I said, why? Apparently, when you acquire a taste for something, I guess it's like Milwaukee's Best. It's all you can afford. Still like to have a little nostalgia once in a while and walk down memory lane and reach in the back seat and grab a hot Milwaukee's Best and crack it.
Fido's good. I like it.
Yeah, good. You know, different cultures.
Yeah.
That's what he likes. I find that odd, but I draw the line at cannibalism. You know, that's another hard no for me. You don't want to.
Well, in your current situation,
Well, I guess you're right, Nate. Point taken. I mean,
I wonder if it's one of those that it'd be like, oh, it tastes like chicken, or it tastes like beef, or
what would you imagine it tasted like?
I go more like a beef, maybe.
Darker meat,
Yeah.
poultry maybe, like a darker turkey meat.
Maybe.
You'd want a hefty dog.
But
You
I
wouldn't
don't
think
know,
a
you know,
poodle
I wonder,
Or a Shih Tzu.
like
They don't have much meat
cattle
on their bones.
though, cattle, they're feeding certain grains to help the meat taste better, this and that. I wonder if ours would just be,
I don't think it
For
does taste better.
sustenance,
I think
or-
we're used to eating grain-fed and corn-fed beef when people will say that their grass-fed steak it didn't have the same taste. It'd be like if you ever just drank milk directly from the cow. It's gonna taste completely different to you because it's not homogenized, it's not been processed and sent.
oh, I
through a-
remember growing up as a kid, we got ours, had the
Yeah.
cream on top, all that, and it
You got
took
to scoop
forever.
the cream off.
When we moved into town and mom started buying grocery store milk, that it was like, what the hell?
it actually tastes better.
It does because it's richer and it has more vitamins. And your taste buds register, you know, fat, sugar, and salt.
Cause yeah, mom would dip the cream off the top
Yeah.
and,
Just put a plastic
Yep.
zip or a saran wrap over the top,
Yep.
and then you peel that off of there. And
Yeah.
There's a little cream in there still. Stir it up.
yep,
Like a plane, it's chunky. Stir it up.
that's what mom would do. She'd dip it off, dad would use it in his coffee or
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
And then, like you said, when there was just a little line of it left, mom would sit there with a wooden spoon and stir it all up and you drink it.
Just drink it.
But it was like the glass gallon jars of And like you said, it had the saran wrap on top, and that was how you picked it up.
Yep. And then we had a dairy. My parents owned a gas station in Elk City, and we lived in Longton, and we'd travel from Longton to Elk City, and a couple times a week, the dairy was just down the street, Rose Dairy, and we'd go out there and give them their 2-gallon jars back, and they'd give us 2 more gallons, and we'd take it to the store, put it in the fridge, and then take it home that night.
Yep.
It'd already be rose and everything, pretty much. Maybe it'd get mixed back up on the way home. You wait till morning, and I couldn't wait. I'd just be drinking it. I'd have a cream mustache. I didn't care. It really didn't bother me too much. I mean, once you get used to the eating that
Well,
way.
you didn't know any better.
No.
You know, it wasn't like you had a choice of any other milk. That was milk. So
I want 2%.
until I moved to the city, I didn't know that there was any other milk thing. Now you go to your friend's house and spend the night, and you know you may get milk in the morning or something, and it's like,
Yeah.
but for the most part, that was milk. You know, the city people had drank the weird milk. We got the good milk.
You know, it's funny, but it didn't used to be, because even the city people, there used to be a milkman that would come around and he'd like bang your mom and drop off milk. Postman would
The
do it
2
too.
for 1, 2 for 1 special.
Yeah, we had
You got a brother and a gallon of milk.
We had a black postman and a Hispanic milkman, and my mom had a black son and a Hispanic daughter.
Like so.
My dad was white as a ghost. It was the wildest thing that you ever saw. I guess through osmosis, them just dropping off the milk. Maybe that John's DNA transfer theory. So much milk, you know, being dropped off at mom's house. Boom, turned the kid chocolate. Oh, what time is it getting to be there?
It is 8:06.
6.
Did you know that they allow 750,000 white blood cells or pus in milk?
Dude, don't
Per
ruin everything for me
milliliter.
today.
And I'm pretty
That's
sure they use dye
disgusting.
as well. So you're not really getting that white milk like you think you are. It might be really a clear pus like.
Well, it's white blood cells because that's a natural part of basically.
Plasma.
Well, not.
Disgusting is what it is.
Yeah.
Damn it, Nate.
Well, it's not really pus, but they only allow a certain amount of this not pus stuff in your
Just
milk,
keep
and if it's
being
more than that,
milk-free.
and if it's more than that, they consider that contaminated and they throw it out. But cows aren't. I don't think cows are supposed to always be producing milk constantly.
They're not, and they're not supposed to be eating corn to produce that milk. They should be walking around the pasture when they have a baby. You can milk them for a little while, and then you let them go out to pasture and recover. They
Yeah.
put them on a milk machine, and they stand there and just get milked. They give them hormones and additives to make them produce more milk. So
Well, and it's a natural part, like of like when a woman has a baby, they have the first
colostrum.
yeah colostrum, which is
Yeah.
a part of the human immune system, which allows the baby to have an immune system before their immune system actually is activated. So it's kind of the same thing with the cows, but it still sounds gross.
We drink too much milk. My daughter and I drink about 3 gallons of milk a week.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
We drink a lot.
We buy the tiny ones, and if I get a glass of milk once a month, I'm doing good.
My wife and daughter don't drink milk. They'll eat it in cereal, and we really never have cereal, so they don't use
I
much
get mine
milk.
in cheese. I eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah, I guess
We
I
have a
eat
lot of
too.
cheese,
I do. We do. We
I like
eat
dairy.
a fuck ton of cheese.
and most of it's probably sawdust.
Yeah.
You guys gotta
Probably
start
my
buying the
stomach
blocks
issues.
Well, we have more blocks now, but
and shred it.
We just, I mean, Tabby, everything she cooks, it involves cheese.
not hating on it. I love
No,
cheese.
I'm not either. Like, I love her cooking.
You guys just have some kind of, your taste buds are akin to sawdust.
Yeah.
Apparently.
You like wood.
But I mean, well, like Tabby, she doesn't eat very much. She'll eat dinner, but during the day she eats cheese and
Oh, really?
pepperonis.
Yeah.
But she does, I mean, everything, well, like last night she made homemade enchiladas, which were fucking amazing.
They were, and they
were
are.
the shit.
They still exist.
They still
But
exist.
you know, it's covered in cheese, it's
Uh,
everything. Potato soup she serves, it's before she hands it to you, it's wham, there's your helping of cheese. Tabby's food group is cheese,
cheese pyramid.
and meat.
Yeah. Cheese
Cheese and
and
meat.
pepperoni. Yeah.
I was gonna
You're
add
gonna
some
get a meat,
cheese.
and then I'm gonna cover it in cheese.
Yeah.
There's your food group.
It's a pretty good combo.
And hell no to vegetables.
Just
Yep.
meat and cheese.
Meat and cheese.
The carnivore diet. Well, you guys want to wrap this thing up?
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be here next week. We'll be here all week.
I'll be here all week. Hopefully Kim Moon June Doon has it shut up.